I want to kind of introduce week 2. We have a discussion and 2 assignments, both related to your final project. And we have 5 different references here, which we'll go through. One of the pages here is called a Quick MBA Strategic Management page. So if I open that up and I click on it to go to another window, it will open up like this. The Quick MBA site is kind of a mini textbook for strategic planning. We don't have a textbook in this class because I don't really believe in $200, 400-page textbooks that no one uses. But I'd rather have something simple, and I think this is simple. There's a strategic management plan. Here's the process. What's your mission and objective? What's the environmental scan? You can read more about that. What's your strategy formulation, your strategy implementation plan, and your evaluation and control? How do you make that work? And they've listed all different kinds of analyses that could help in these things. In fact, I even ordered this simplified strategic planning book. I think I'm getting it for like $1.98. And I may use that as a textbook moving forward. The other thing is it talks about SWOT analysis, it talks about Porter's 5 forces, and a variety of other tools that you should look at and decide what you want to use. In our project, you have to use a SWOT analysis and you have to have Porter's 5 forces. But other than that, you're free to choose which one you want to use. You're free to use this model or another strategic planning process, whatever you think is useful. I tend to think all the strategic planning processes are variations of this. It might have 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps, but they're all, to the mathematician in me, isomorphic to this general model. All right, back to the course. So if we go back to home, the next step is, and people have asked about SWOT analysis, how to do it, and Porter's 5 forces. So I put an article in here that I thought gives a good detail on SWOT analysis and how to do it. Take a read of it and see what it is you want to do. There's nothing magic about it, and I noticed in the first week's discussion and what people were looking for, the introductions and what people were looking for in the course, they want to be able to do SWOT analysis and understand how Porter's 5 forces really work. And I'll probably put another video up on that either this week or next week. But let me tell you this, it's in the details. Anybody can do a SWOT analysis. I can do a SWOT analysis on Walmart without doing any research. You can scour the internet. You can Google it and find SWOT analyses. But they're good starting points. They'll give you some ideas, but they're not what I'm going to want. I think if you do a SWOT analysis, you've got to have 5 or 6 items, key items in each of the S, W, O, and T categories, and then you have to back them up with a good paragraph or 2 explaining each one. Then you've done a SWOT analysis, and that makes you an expert in the company. So let's go back home. There's another article on strategic planning failure. I haven't given a discussion on this, but I think it's well worth reading. It talks about, again, mission and vision and where companies fail, the recent history of strategic planning, which really started as a discipline in its own in the 60s and 70s. And the Boston Consulting Group is one of those. Porter was huge in it. Jack Welch was instrumental in it. It's unbelievable what's happened to GE since he left. And then why do the traditional strategic planning methods fail? I think most people don't do well at them, so you could read this. I don't have a discussion on it. I'm happy to put another discussion up this week if you think that would help. So take a read of that. Next, what is the theory of your firm? Well, we read the Drucker article, and that was from the 1990s. Here's one that's written in 2013, same kind of theme. So I like that we read an old article that seemed to be evergreen. Here's a new take on it. You might want to read it so that as you create your mission, it might be more theory-oriented than just pie-in-the-sky mission-oriented. Then the article on which we're going to have our discussion this week. do you need an innovative strategy? And here's a setup of that exercise. Read the article. How important do you think innovation component is to a strategic plan? Clearly, a company like Apple has lived off them. They've been strategic. They've had the Macintosh, any product that starts with an I that they created were kind of breakthrough products. And some of them, like the iPad and the iPod, have gone a little bit by the wayside and been somewhat replaced by larger smartphones. So how important is innovation to the company you selected? How important is innovation to other places you have worked? Why or why not? If we stick with the theme of Apple, it's my belief that people like Henry Ford, Akio Morita of Sony, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos thrive on invention and innovation. They drive their company because they have an entrepreneurial spirit to create and create more and improve constantly what they're trying to do. Sometimes these companies, after the founding innovator goes, and it's certainly the case of all of those companies except Amazon, which Bezos still runs, I kind of believe that the innovation slows way down because the companies are then run by corporate wonks who are more managerial types and less innovative entrepreneurial types, and therefore it becomes a company of line extensions and doing more of what they've always done rather than pushing the envelope and trying to become innovative. So does my thesis have any credence with you? And if you say no, I won't mark you down. I just want to see what you're thinking here and generate some discussion. Will you incorporate some of the ideas in this paper into your strategic plan? So that's the discussion for this week. Try to get it up by Thursday or Friday and then comment on others. If we go next, I've got 2 assignments related to your final project. Here's one. It's just called references. I expect you to be an expert on the company that you chose. Even if I've read about the company, I want you to surprise me and know more than I know about that company. So those of you in the auto industry, I have a penchant for that. If you had picked Newell Rubbermaid or Colgate Palmolive or even North Park University, I expect you to know more than I do about those places. I've read a lot about Amazon, so if you're talking about Amazon type of strategies or strategies to combat Amazon, I want you to go out and find stuff that I don't know. If you don't work for these companies and don't have inside information, the way you do this is by getting references. So I want you to do your literature search and put together your reference list, which doesn't have to stop here. You can keep adding to it. And you've got to not only find the references, you probably want to read the articles as much as you can. Now, you don't have to read the articles first. You can put them together and put them into a folder and then save them. I would even recommend Evernote for this. I may put another video up on Evernote because articles I've collected on many of the companies you're doing, I'm happy to share with you and save you some of the time. And I can share those articles with you on Evernote. You get the free service. I pay for it because I have so much on there right now. So to become an expert, find the reference list. And what's in a reference? We're looking for articles, books, websites, annual reports, analyst reports, company quarterly calls, which if it's a public company are usually on their website and you can listen to them. And anything else that you think that will make you an expert. Put them in APA format. That's the only APA requirement I will have, is that all your references are in APA. Once you put this reference sheet together, any component of this project from here to the end, you can just attach your reference sheet to it and refer to those things as you go. So you're going to read some of the articles that you find, and I expect you to read some of them. For the ones that you have read, and what number should I read? I don't know, 5 of them, 6 of them, 10 of them, whatever. Summarize the insights you gained on the company or industry and where those insights came from. Think of these as notes that you have formalized to show and discuss with the class and your professor. That would be me, of course. Our frequently asked questions: how many references? Well, here's what I can tell you. If you only have 2 references, that's way too little. If you have 100 plus references, I'm going to guess you're trying to impress me. So somewhere in between. What is the sweet spot for you to feel like you're an expert on this company and can drive a strategy for them? What would I do if it was me? I'd probably have somewhere between 25 and 50, I guess. Be careful that you don't get confounded by all the information that's there. Lastly, strategic plan, outline, structure. I really want to have a SWOT analysis this week, but I backed off of that a little bit. So there's no fixed formula for strategic planning. There are, however, general guidelines. As good a reference as any is that website, that quick MBA website that I showed, which is in the reading and reference section, and also you can click on this link here. So the assignment has two parts, but should be submitted in one MS Word document. One, develop a plan to develop your strategic plan. How will you develop your strategic plan for your company? What model, i.e. planning steps will you use? You use the one in Quick MBA. If something else appeals to you more, use that. Will you use the company's existing mission vision, or will you rewrite it? If you can find a mission vision for the company you have chosen, if you cannot find, a mission vision for the company you have chosen, you will have to write one. So you might want to provide that as well. At least see if they have that. You don't have to write the new one, but at least if they have one, you should put it here. What tools will you use? Everybody must use a SWOT and Porter's 5 Forces analysis. Again, peruse the Quick MBA site and determine which other tools or techniques intrigue you. I might require, I could say you have to use one or two more of these tools, but you're seasoned graduate students. I leave that to you. How do you want to put the touch on your strategic plan? What of these other tools might give you some insight and force you to think in a way that you could craft a better vision and strategy? Part 2. This is a little bit more specific. It has to do with the current state of your company. What is the current financial status of your company? Provide the last 3 years of financial statements, income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements. Easier done when it's a public company, harder to do when it's private. And for public companies, you can go to Yahoo Finance, and it's all there. What are the current, hence short-term financial challenges for the company, and what are they doing to overcome these challenges? Again, go to your references and read them and find out what their challenges are. Here's a note to this assignment. Do the reference assignment first. Simply attach that to this report and refer to it as needed for quotations, graphics, and so on. Again, the references need to be APA. The rest of the document could be APA, yawn, or you could add some pizzazz in the formatting of it. So that's all I got for assignments this week. I'll probably post another video just to try to keep them shorter about as topics come to mind. So thank you very much. We'll see you Wednesday. We have a face-to-face. And for those of you that are out of town, let me know who you are, and we'll Skype you in. And I think what I want to do is basically just talk about your company and where you stand on these references and strategic plan, outline and structure, and perhaps give you some guidance. And maybe we'll do that one-on-one in front of the whole class so that other people can contribute and tell you their ideas. This is a shared experience. It doesn't have to be a solo activity. Thank you very much, and look forward to the next video.